Yeah, so going back to last Saturday, a competitive team, obviously at the Division III level, but well coached. I know their coach really well, good friend of mine, and I knew it's always been a competitive game. I think it was a long time coming for our squad. We were really ready to put the pads on and put the jerseys on and go against somebody else for once after about a month and a half of practicing by ourselves, and so I think that's kind of what was reflected on the score there. Our guys just really came out firing, and we're excited to be there and got the job done. And then looking forward, big road trip for us. Anytime we go back to the East Coast, it's a big one, and all of those games are massive for our success towards the end of the season. And so, we've been practicing hard. We're trying to take it one game at a time, and so we've got Lees McRae up first, and we've been focusing on them for the past 2 days. We'll try and get some practice in tomorrow. It'll probably be a big mental day with as much travel as we have to do. And then we play them on Thursday and get after it from there. So,
James, for you, Coach touched on, D3 opponent, but still a really quality D3 opponent, and even an opponent that's beat this program a couple times. So just what were your impressions from, like Coach said, putting the pads on against somebody else, having the challenge of figuring out another defense rather than your teammates, and just how that makes you feel heading into this road trip?
Yeah, first of all, it was obviously fun to play against someone other than ourselves. We've actually never lost to them. I know our program has, but me and Jake have never lost to them. I think we're 3-0 against them. But they are a good program. I think they made it to the Elite Eight our sophomore year? Yeah. The tournament, and the D3 tournament's a huge tournament. So, yeah, they're a really good program. Going against a different defense, it's definitely different. I think our guys in practice really got us prepared to play against those guys, right? We work hard every day, and honestly, we say we train so hard that the games were easy, and that's honestly how it felt. I felt honestly more fresh after that game than some of the practices that we've had. So, I think it went pretty well.
So Jake, you're talking about how the team has gotten you guys ready, for all of the preseason training, and even really heading to Colorado here. You guys have a big roster, ton of guys practicing, ton of guys traveling for the game. That's going to be trimmed down a little bit when you guys head to the East Coast. So does that change as a player? Does that change your mindset at all, knowing, hey, there's less guys that are going to give me a breather or anything like that? And how does the team feel about that?
Yeah. So, each game, depending on if it's home or away, I would like to think I go into it with the same mentality, whether I got guys to sub me off the field or not. But with that said, the guys that we are leaving home are just as big a part of the team as the guys who we're taking on the trip. Yeah, we're going to miss them. Yeah, we're going to miss those smiling faces, and I think it's important that we keep them up to date and they keep working from home as well. But as you said, as far as depth, I feel like that's one thing that this team has really grown with this year, with our core kind of senior class, a couple additions as transfers. I think that we can get that job done, and I would hope that we're conditioned enough not to need another player to step on that field for us.
All right, questions?
So you're not playing at altitude, so that'll help a little bit, right? How different did it feel for you going in as a head coach for that first game as opposed to just the right-hand man?
Yeah, I think it's interesting. It was a different level of stress for sure, knowing that at the end of the day, everything kind of falls back on my shoulders. At the same time, I mentioned the last time we met in this room, the guys that are on the team that I've kind of surrounded myself with, that I've been with for 4 years since I got here, they make it fairly easy for me. They're pretty experienced at this point, and they know how to handle different situations. And I think they were able to lead the way on the field, so it made my job really easy standing from the sideline. There were a couple quarters there though where I was pulling my hair out a little bit, but we got the job done in the end. So
that's early, right?
That's right.
You got to make him work a little bit, right? Just the balance that you guys look like you're going to have this year. One guy with two or three guys with two. Does it kind of take the pressure off everybody, knowing that you're just going to share the load this year, just as like you have every year you've been here, it looks like?
Yeah. Definitely from an offensive standpoint, this is probably the deepest I think we've been since I've been here, other than maybe my freshman year. And having 4 or 5 guys score 2 goals and a couple other guys score 1 goal, it just helps a lot. I mean, you don't feel like the weight of the world is on your shoulders as much, and you can just, I guess, trust. You just trust in the other guys to get the job done, and I mean, that's kind of what winning teams have to do to win the big game. So.
Yeah, I agree with James's word is trust. I would agree with him. Our defensive core is probably the strongest it's been since I've been here. And when you're working in a 6-man unit, the biggest thing is not having to do someone else's job. And when I step on that field with that D group, there is no point where I feel like I have to do someone else's job for them.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, lacrosse is still relatively young in this part of the world, at least. What drew you guys to the sport? Was it the fact that you could hit somebody with a stick as hard as you could and get away with it?
Definitely.
Because I know a lot of kids say, I mean, I can hit somebody with a stick?
That's right. For me, yeah, I picked defense. As soon as I could have a 6-foot pole in my hands, I had one. But no, for me, I remember in the 3rd grade, one of my buddies went over to his house, and I came from the ice. I was a hockey player, and he said, "You ever tried the sport lacrosse?" And I was like, "Never heard of it." And he was like, "Yeah, they roll a ball around, you pick it up, throw it around, and get to whack people." And I said, "It sounds like the sport for me." So haven't looked back since, and just as the Native Americans call it, it's a medicine game. Every time I'm on that field, I feel a little bit better.
Yeah, for me, I was my older brother played. I think when I was in kindergarten, he was in 3rd grade, and I was just super jealous. Like, man, that looks so cool. Like, you get to put all that gear on and go play. And then I would beg my parents to let me play with them. And all I had was hockey gear at the time, kind of same like Jake. And so I went out there one day and just started practicing with them, a bunch of 3rd graders, and I was like 6 years old. And they just let me keep practicing with them from that day on, and I just fell in love with it. So maybe it was jealousy that got me into it. That's probably what I would say.
James, I got a question.
Yeah.
Did you used to wear your hockey shoulder pads and elbow pads?
I don't remember.
I did. It was bad. It was not good.
Yeah.
Well, and you could hit your brother with a stick.
Exactly.
I
Score more goals than him.
I do the same thing, and luckily for me, I still get to do it.
Yeah. Well, and the thing is, I mean, coming from hockey,
Yeah.
I mean, it's people have called lacrosse hockey on feet, hockey without the ice. I mean, it's a combination of so many sports, but contact it's like, I just can't imagine having the stick whacking me across the arm like some of you guys do, but you seem to just keep on going. I don't know. It's just, but it's just enough contact without hopefully bleeding.
Exactly.
So differences between where hockey, how the sport's played here and back east. I mean, obviously it's much more established back east. What do you face going to Carolina now?
Yeah, I think the kind of stereotypical answer to that is that the Western players are always more athletic. They're faster, bigger, stronger. Sometimes the East Coast, where the sport has its roots a little bit deeper dug, you see maybe some more lacrosse IQ, they call it, the skill side of the game. Luckily for us, I think we've got a little bit of both of that. These guys just told you they started playing at a super young age, and so that's how it is on the East Coast. They'll be talented back there. I think they have a different read on the game than we have, but I'll definitely say they haven't seen anybody as athletic as us yet. So.
Is it a little more tactical?
Yeah, I'd say they probably like to play the 6v6 game, so settled on offense and defense, whereas our thing is if we can beat you in the open field and run by you, we're going to do that. And not that we can't beat you in 6v6, but why would we want to play that when we can just run right past you? So.
They're not going to call you for offside.
Yeah,
it's
that's
not like
right.
soccer where nobody understands why they're offside. But you do. I mean, you have a mix of the athleticism and the physicality that I think a lot of teams won't see as much.
Yeah, absolutely. We've got guys from all over, guys that played football in Texas as linebackers and all that good stuff. And obviously these guys growing up and being amazing athletes on the ice and on the field. And like I said, we're a different breed of athlete. I think when we get out there, you already made a mention of the altitude. That shows quite a bit. We always make a funny joke amongst the team. At halftime, each team kind of goes off to their corner, and we always look down at the other end of the field, and opposing team's always sitting down, and we don't ever sit down at halftime. We're always ready for the next half. So.
It's mental.
That's right.
All right, you guys, question of the week time. Don't overthink this one.
Okay.
What is your least favorite word? It could be something that's hard to say, hard to spell. No, yeah, don't swear.
Yeah.
But something that's hard to say, hard to spell, a phrase you don't like, a cliche you don't like, can go in a number of directions.
I'm gonna have to go with the word surgery. As a biology major, just working in the field, I feel like I've had to use that word so much, and never have I figured out how to spell that word. I don't ask me now even.
Okay, that's a good one.
I'm gonna go with this is a big one here. Probably the word moist. I don't know if you've heard that. Have you heard that a lot?
Yeah.
That's a bad word.
Yeah, it's a bad word. People don't like that word. I don't mind it a ton, but I'm gonna go with what the people want.
I don't know. I can't pick just one word, but I'll say I have a habit of tripping over my own tongue, and so any word that gets me tripped up is probably my least favorite.
Fair enough. Thanks a lot, guys.